Irma Evans, Cascade Sports. I am here with Coach Sammy Richardson from Winnetonka High School. How are you today?
I'm good in yourself.
I'm doing good. Welcome to the show. So you are at Winnetonka now. You used to be one of my colleagues, but now
Yes.
you went to the other side. So what are you doing at Winnetonka?
So at Winnetonka, I am the assistant girls and boys wrestling coach.
Okay. So you coach boys and girls.
Yes, I do.
Okay. How's that going? Has the season started already?
So yes, our season is we're a winter sport, so we go from November to about February. So our season is over. It was a great season. It was my first season at Winnetonka, but I feel like we had a tremendous first year for myself.
Good. So tell us a little bit about the history of your coaching. When did you start coaching?
I've been coaching. Oh my goodness, about to make me sound old on here. I've been coaching for about I want to say almost close to 15 years. I
Wow.
would say
Oh, okay.
it's been been a long time. I started here in Kansas City. I started at I don't even want to say the name wrong. I'm not from here, so I still try to learn the schools. But I want to say I started at Hogan Prep as was
Okay.
my first like coaching debut in Kansas City, and I came on as a volunteer there. I did that for about a year and a half.
Okay. And I heard that you said that you coach boys and girls. As a female coach with wrestling being a male dominant sport, how was it being a female coach and having to coach males as well?
It's hard. It is hard. It tests your patience every second of it. Coming in as a not only a female coach but a black female coach, you kind of come in, with the cards not on your side. You gotta
Mhm.
kind of have to make your way in. Sometimes I really feel like I have to like make sure people know I'm in the room because if not, I'll get talked over or I won't even get talked to at all in most cases. So I made it a point, as being in the game this long to make sure when I'm in the room, everyone knows I'm in the room.
And how hard was it, if hard at all, to get the boys? Because I know girls will buy in a little bit more easier with the female coach, but was it hard for you to get the boys to buy in to your program as well?
To be honest, not really. I started off in the city, and I feel like me being someone that they see daily, like like a mother or aunt, it was a little bit easier. I'm not gonna lie, it was a few where I had to kind of like twist arms and really like get down to a level and talk to them, let them know who I was and what I was about. But once we kind of got that out the way, it was mostly smooth sailing. It wasn't the kids so much. It was actually the other male coaches that I had to kind of, oh, where did you wrestle at? And what did you do? And kind of find out, the most they ever wrestled was eighth grade, youth
Right.
club. They hadn't even reached the statuses or places I've ever been. So, trying to kind of having to put my resume out there and, always kind of having to vouch for myself, in a sense, is what made me really have to prove, I guess.
And could you share with us some of the accolades and accomplishments that you had with coaching wrestling, but both at Central, where you was with me, and Winnetonka as well?
Yes, I wanted to say that Central is always near and dear to my heart. That was the first program where I was actually the head boys and girls coach. We didn't really have girls, so I was the head boys coach at Central. I want to say about 5 or 6 years I was at Central.
Okay.
So Central is my stumping grounds, my starting place. So I owe Central everything. But from my accolades as a coach, I have Central period. I made history. I'm the first female coach to take a boy to state. So I
Wow.
have a state
Congratulations.
qualifier, and I was the first in Central history, for that as well. And to be honest, I think in the whole state of Missouri, the first. This year, I actually made great strides at Winnetonka. We took 4 girls to state this year, and all 4 girls placed. So that was also a great accomplishment to add to my resume.
Very well. And the girls, how were they? How did they adjust to, again, with wrestling being a male dominant sport? Were they all ready to go in there, or did you kind of have to encourage them to just go ahead and take it because girls can do anything?
Oh my goodness. So Winnetonka is my first time coaching girls at Central. I always just coach with the boys. So Winnetonka was kind of like a learning ground for me. Uh, so the girls that I got to coach, they already kind of had a wrestling background. I did kind of try to go around the school and recruit more because wrestling for girls is a growing sport. So I tried to go out there and really, encourage more of the girls, especially girls that look like me. Like, because it's free money out there for us to go to college. And anytime or any way I can motivate our girls, I'm all for it. So to get the girls out there, it's kind of still taboo, very much so in Missouri. A lot of the girls are like, wrestling? Oh, heck no, I ain't trying to do that. So to kind of get that stigma off of it and introduce them to the sport is a challenge every day. It's still a challenge. Even the girls that are on the team, it's still a challenge to get them to understand that, hey, baby, you an athlete at the end of the day. Right. Athletes sweat, athletes do this. Yes. So it's not about being a boy or being a girl, it's about being an athlete. So the whole culture around wrestling is to get them to understand that. So it is still a work in progress that, I work on every year to be a better coach at. But for the most part, I think the girls that want to wrestle come out and wrestle.
Good. That's good to hear. And I heard you mention that there is a lot of money out there for us to go to college. And with Cascade Sports being the home of the student athlete, how important is academics for you and your athletes?
Oh my goodness. It says it all in the name. You're a student athlete. You're a student first and then an athlete. So with that being said, academics is number one. You don't get to step on my mat. You don't get to practice. You can't even look in my wrestling room if your grades aren't right. That's where it all starts, because at the end of the day, I want to see you advance. I want to see you do more. Even if you don't go to school, or should I say college, to wrestle, you still should be able to, get that higher education. In order to get that, you have to have those grades. In order to get those scholarships, to get that money, those grades are what come first. So that's my biggest concern with my kids. You can go 0-100 that season, but if you have all A's and all B's, or whatever case may be, that's where I'm like, okay, I'm proud of you. You did great this season.
Yeah, grades are definitely important. And the season starts back up in the winter, as you said. Do you have any plans for this summer, or what are you looking forward to next season?
Oh yeah, one thing that I do like about Winnetonka that I really wish that I could have done at Central is that they wrestle year round. So now we're technically in freestyle season. So during the school year is folk style. Right now we're in freestyle, which more is on the club level. They still have nationals for it in Vegas and things like that. And also the cool part is women's wrestling in college is freestyle. I would explain that more, but that'll be a whole nother interview. Between it's just two different styles of wrestling. So right now for Winnetonka, we are in freestyle season, and it's really cool. So they get to wrestle year round and really harness their craft. And I love that for them. I think that's awesome. So when we come into next season, it's like we never left, because we're still continuously going.
Good. So with that being said, we here at Cascade Sports, again, me personally, I want to uplift, highlight, our female coaches, female athletes, because it's important that we get the same recognitions that everybody else does. And with wrestling, again, being a male dominant sport, because I never thought to do wrestling myself, because of that stigma that's put on it. What are some ways that you're gonna encourage more girls to get into wrestling or get into sports in general?
The most important thing I always tell girls is the camaraderie of it all. Like, for instance, 2 years ago I got married. All my bridesmaids were my wrestling teammates. These are girls that I have known 20 plus years that have turned into lifelong friends. So that's first and foremost. You have someone that knows, what you're going through. Like when you get off that mat, because on that mat you're by yourself. And then when you get off that mat, you kind of have someone to kind of confide in. They know what you've been through. They know what it took to get here. They know the hours you put in practice and all the hard work. So it's just nice to have someone like-minded like you that's going through that same battle as you to be there. So that's always what I first and foremost tell them. These are lifelong friends that are going to turn into sisters that will be there forever. And then also to get into sports is just the discipline and the confidence it gives you. Like I said before, when I walk in that room and I make sure everybody knows I'm there, I chalk that up to wrestling. Wrestling gave me that confidence, because when you walk on that mat, you got to have that confidence. You can't go out there and be like, oh, I might lose this. Like, no, you got to go out there like, hey, it's either her or me. Like, what's up? So, athletics has given me that. I'm actually a late bloomer. I really didn't start to do sports until high school. Middle school, I really didn't do sports or anything like that. And I lucked upon wrestling, and it really has shaped me into who I am today. So I always chalk that up to athletics.
Good. And with that being said, do you have any advice for our female student athletes who are even afraid to, step out and try new things, or those who want to play at a higher level? What advice would you give them?
Most definitely, I would give them the advice of stay in those books, get those books down, get those grades up, keep them up. And then from there, start looking at college. It's never too early to start looking at colleges. I have nieces and nephews, and I always tell them, like, they're in 9th and 8th grade. I'm like, hey, what schools are you interested in? What are you trying to look at? So you can know their guidelines to get in, so you can know what you need to do to get there. Like, are you taking the right classes? Do you need an AP class? Do you need a calculus class? Like, it's important to kind of know a path of where you're going so you can make sure you're taking the right turns to get there.
Good, great advice. Again, I'm always about academics myself. Academics stay number one. If you can't get your academics together, then sports is just won't be there for us.
Right.
But before we get out of here, is there anybody that you want to shout out, say give your thank yous to, or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm most definitely gonna shout out my Central Blue Eagles.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I also want to give a shout out to my Winnetonka Griffins. Those are now my new babies too. But most definitely those two. Thank y'all for helping, letting me be your coach and helping me grow. Because without any athletes, I wouldn't have anyone to coach, and I wouldn't be able to become a better coach.
Good. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show today. I look forward to watching you guys this winter.
Yes, come check us out. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. People's first wrestling matches, I love watching their face. They're like, "What? You can do that? Yes, you can do that."
I've never been to one, so I'm gonna check it out for sure.
Yes, come sit by me. I'll explain the rules to you.
Awesome, sounds good. Thank you so much for coming out. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
This program is brought to you by the City of Fountains Coaches Association.